welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at rounding, and rounding really is just making an estimate. A lot of the times this is just a strategy we teach as far as when they say, we'll estimate the sum of, how many whatever. We would want our students to be rounding those numbers and then adding them together, or same thing with estimating the difference. And so the other thing with rounding is students need to understand place value. And so for this specific problem, we're rounding to the nearest hundred. So I teach a few steps as far as we talk about rounding. There's a procedural way of doing this, or there is kind of a more concrete way, but that would kind of take a little bit of number sense. And so I'll walk you kind of just through both of them. So since we're rounding to the hundreds place, the first thing I would say is that they should underline the place value. And after that, so we go next door. We got the next place value over, wherever you underlined. And you have, if it's 5 or more, you round up. If it's 4 or less, you round down. We say 5 or more, add 1 more. 4 or less, let it rest. And so this one happens to be 5 or more. So we go back to our underlined place value and we add 1 more. It's going to go up. And so that 4 then becomes a 5. And the rest, anything after your underlined place, becomes a 0. So round to the nearest 100 would be 500. And so again, if we look at this problem in a different way, we can take that 456, and since we're rounding to the nearest 100, if I look at the hundreds place, the two numbers that this is sitting between, the two hundreds, it's sitting between 400 and it's sitting between 500. And so you need to decide, by going, which one is this number actually closer to? And since this one is 5 or more, the same rule, it would round to the 500. Just a different way of looking at it. And so now if we look at a different problem, this one is rounding to the nearest 10. And so as we look at our problem, we would underline the tens place, and then we would go next door. This one happens to be 4 or less, so that means that our underlined place value and anything to the left of it would stay the same. It would rest, and so this one would round to 160. Again, the same way this one would work between is, what does this number round to as far as looking at the two benchmarks between it. And so I would say that this one is between 160 and 170. And which one is it closer to as far as value? It would be closer to the 160. There you go.